say we fight.
I know. CG does like to cut things incredibly fine, about as fine as a knife edge sometimes. It is the 31st. Today is officially the release day of the Profundity, so CG decided it might be a good idea, perhaps, maybe, potentially, to get the kit just before, we actually get the event. Let's go take a look. Okay, so here we have it. Ladies and gentlemen, it is officially here, and I am excited. I am for it. The Admiral Radis's Profundity, the counterpart to the Executor, the thing that is going to finally fulfill our hopes and dreams and get rid of that god-awful Executor mirror match meta that we've been having since the dawn of time. Before computers were created, before mobile phones were a thing, before the dawn of microtransaction, we had the Executor mirror match, and people were throwing their hair around and breaking mugs and slapping each other across the face because the dodge meta was there. Does your Xanadu blood double tap? No. Do you land that marked on the enemy's Razor Crest? No. Do you manage to go before the enemy ship? Do you manage to get your reinforcement first? Do you manage to hit? You get the picture, guys. People were tired of it. Let's see. So, Profundity, Lightside, Capital Ship, and Rebel for our Grand Admiral Radis. Fantastic. Escape with the enemy's secret plans by sending the tentative forward to hyperspace, forcing the enemy capital ship to chase. Rebel synergy increases the speed of the download progress. Who could have seen that one coming? Me. I saw that coming. Tactically scanning the battlefield can create opportunities to target priority ships. This part here is the interesting part to me. I was certain that the starting lineup was going to be Outrider, Millennium Falcon, and Biggs, but it looks like we're going in with a Rebel Y-Wing, with Phantom 2 and Ghost on the lineup. That does mean a few things for the Home 1 fleet. That means most likely it looks like we'll be keeping the U-Wings as well as Bistan and Wedge in there under Raven's Claw. I do still think we are getting Red 5 coming to join that fleet. If you think starting lineup there is probably going to be Red 5, Biggs, and Wedge, because there's probably going to be some synergy there. It's just going to try and elevate that a little bit. Anyway, moving on, we digress. Unit name, Profundity. Alignment is light, no surprise there. Capital Ship and Rebel. So, Rebels allies with full health gain critical damage. This check for full health occurs prior to your allies recovering, because the Profundity does have a baked-in element of recovery into it. So that'll only happen if they start their turn with full health, not if they heal and then have full health. Ultimate is used to remove the enemy capital ship from the battlefield. Now, I did a video with Gridden that it just looks like it's not going to get out in time for this, but I did a video with Gridden. We discussed how is this going to counter the Executor. The Executor capital ship is a very strong capital ship, but ultimately it is a ticking time bomb. You have to be able to take it out before it hits its ultimate, otherwise you basically have next to no chance of actually winning that encounter. So, CG have inevitably created a situation in the fleet meta where everything needs to have some sort of either absurd offense to win the battle before the ultimate of the Executor ticks, or a way to stop that ultimate from happening. And what better way than to remove the enemy's capital ship? Okay. There are benefits for Rebel cargo ships and Rebel crewless tanks. This is the interesting part for me. The Executor can ignore crewless tanks, so I'm wondering how it's going to deal with that. When a Rebel ally gains critical hit, there is a chance to call another Rebel ship to assist, including the Profundity. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's ever been a capital ship that can assist in the past, so that's kind of cool. The download mechanic is the same for the one that the Outrider uses, and when Outrider increases the download of all Rebel ships, that includes the Profundity. That's pretty cool. That's obviously going to boost his ultimate, so the Outrider is going to be absolutely pivotal to this capital ship working on offense. Turn meter manipulation is turned off for both teams when the Profundity is chosen, so there is no bonus TM. It's kind of like when you've got JMK on the field, nobody can gain bonus TM. That's really useful in a number of ways. One, it's going to stop Houndstooth from gaining so many turns when it doesn't have Taunt. Super. There's always a means in these new ship metas to deal with Houndstooth, because CG has painted themselves into a corner with that particular tank. But also it helps deal with Empire fleets, namely TIE Fighter Pilot being used to boost the TM on capital ships and that sort of thing. The Profundity was the flagship in charge of Rebels' first victory against the Empire, securing the plans to Krennic's Death Star, Krennic, via the Rogue One strike team on Scarif. What about Mr. Versio? Not Versio. Urso, rather. Apologies. And we're back in the room. We saw an opportunity to have the Outrider and Profundity to have synergy with both ships downloading data as keys to their success. Sharp-eyed players will note that while in space, the Profundity and the Outrider are downloading data, while on the ground, Admiral Radis' squad is uploading it. Interesting. Now, we know we're going to be getting an Omicron on Cassian Andor once his show drops. I wonder if there's going to be an element of downloading or uploading on that kit. Strategy ships. Use Special 1 to call a ship with multiple instances of damage on their basic to maximize the debuff potential. Outrider, I believe. Utilize Reinforcement Order. And Special 2 is your friend and loves to interact with specific buffs. Okay. Where is the Profundity intended to sit in the fleet meta? Now, they have stated this already. It is supposed to have that sort of parity with the Executor, be able to win on offense, but potentially lose on defense, similar to the Negotiator Malevolence dynamic that we have. So, they're stating here, we worked very hard to engineer a ship that can beat a defending Executor of equal investment. Equal investment. That is the key term right there. In the flip situation, with the same Executor attacking a defending Profundity, the battle should fall in the Executor's favor. Now, I don't know if this means you need a Relic 9 Piet in order to beat Profundity, because let's face it, everybody's going to have a Relic 9 Admiral Radis, so you need an equal investment in order to win. So I think if you don't have a Relic 9 Piet, you're still going to need it. Why is Admiral Radis required at such a high Relic level? In order to give Profundity a good initial impression, we wanted to ensure that the crew of the ship would be on par with Relic 9 Admiral Piets that are on a good chunk of Executors out there. So let me translate for this to you guys so there's absolutely no confusion. We wanted people to spend more money so that we would have more money in our coffers because we need an extra Lamborghini. They could just as easily do a Rebel capital ship that's not dependent on the stats of the pilot, where you don't need Relic 9 in order to compete, and Relic 9 wouldn't materially impact the matchup. They could make that decision if they wanted to. They're not gonna. I'm not salty, you're salty. Okay, let's see, the basic.
There's no turning back now.
If this ability is used during Profundity's turn, deal physical damage to the target enemy and grant a target ally a bonus turn. Now remember, just like Jedi Master Kenobi, there's no TM manipulation, but bonus turns do not count as TM manipulation, they count as bonus turns, so this can still activate. If the target ally is a rebel, they gain 50% offense and increase download by 10%. Wow, this ult is going to hit quick. You can ignore taunt, inflict buff immunity on the target for one turn on their next turn. Oh, wow, okay, sorry. So on their next turn, they'll gain the ability to ignore taunt. They get 50% more offense. They can inflict buff immunity on the target. Wow. If the enemy already had buff immunity, stun them, which is great if it's Houndstooth. It'll stop him from being able to cleanse that buff immunity, for example. If the Profundity was called to assist out of its turn, because it does have that capability, right? Deal physical damage and instead inflict daze for one turn, which can't be resisted. Daze is a great mechanic. Wow. Cool. That's really cool. Okay, so unconventional maneuver. Cooldown of 4, quite a heavy cooldown. Checking out the actual animation here. Yeah, pretty boring. Let's face it, ship animations are generally pretty boring outside of the ultimate. Increased download by 10%. Dispel all debuffs from the target ally, and they assist twice. That's pretty cool. At the end of the turn, the target enemy is inflicted with debuffs for each instance of physical or special damage they receive during this turn for 2 turns. Wow, which can't be resisted. So if you hit them once, they gain critical chance down. 3+ times, it's breach. 5 instances of damage, burning. 7 is ability block, and 9 is shield disruption. So they attack twice, so you need something that's going to multiple hit, much like I believe the Outrider does multiple instances of damage, so you really want to be calling in that Outrider, I believe, on this. But if you get up to 9 instances, you'll hit shield disruption, ability block, burning, breach, and critical chance down. That's all pretty sick. And you'll gain 10% additional download. Okay, the Rebel fleet has arrived. Special number 2. Looks like a heal of sorts. Dispel advantage, stealth, and tenacity up from all non-rebel enemies. So, advantage deals with First Order. Stealth certainly deals with Xanadu Blood if that's going to be hiding. Tenacity up helps deal with Executors that are just passing Tenacity up all the time. And non-rebel enemies means it's just not going to work against mirror matches. Each enemy that lost advantage this way is inflicted with Vulnerable for 2 turns, which means they'll get crit. Each enemy that lost stealth this way is marked for 2 turns. So essentially, you use this to counter Executors. The Xanadu Blood is stealthed, you get rid of the stealth, and you mark it for 2 turns so it can't re-stealth. An enemy that lost Tenacity up this way is inflicted with Tenacity down, helps deal with that Hound's Tooth so that you can land buff immunity on it or heal immunity. Each enemy that lost Tenacity up this way is inflicted with Tenacity down for 2 turns. Yep, got that one already. These debuffs cannot be dispelled, evaded, or resisted. Rebel allies with full health gain crit damage up for 2 turns. Rebel allies recover 25% health and gain bonuses based on their rolls. Attackers gain offense up for 2 turns. Healers and supports gain stealth for 2 turns. Crewless tank gain taunt for 2 turns and 4 stacks of reinforced hull. I'll have to remind myself on that one, but I think it's reduced damage. I believe the Razor Crest has that. What I was kind of hoping for this was that it would actually inflict stealth on all non-tanks for rebels. That way, it gets around Executors being able to ignore that taunt. Because let's face it, the BTLB Y-Wing is not particularly tanky, and it's not going to scale well because there are no relic levels on a pilotless capital ship, let's be honest, guys. So I have a feeling that this has some time limitations on it. Unique, I say we fight. Final text. At the start of battle, Profundity gains 10 speed for each dark side enemy, including the capital ship. Well, it's the first time we've seen speed bonuses like this, I believe, for capital ships, until the end of its first turn, and ally rebel cargo ships gain 4 stacks of reinforced hull. Nice, so basically all of them will gain reinforced hull, increasing their survivability, and crewless rebel tanks taunt for 1 turn, which is all but useless against the Executor. Ally rebel ships gain the following benefits on their rolls. Cargo ships are immune to critical hits, that's really good. Cargo ships being like Millennium Falcon, Ghost, the Outrider, Phantom 2. There's probably more. Crewless tanks immune to crits, gain 35% defense max health. There we go, that's going to help. Taunt for 1 turn whenever a rebel ally is inflicted with a debuff, which is going to be happening a lot, and are immune to buff immunity whilst taunting. Still don't quite understand how that helps with Executor mirrors where they'll just ignore that taunt. Support cargo ships deal bonus true damage equal to 8% of their max health when they deal physical or special damage. Now that's going to be really good if you actually put the relic investment into your cargo ships. We're looking at you, Phoenix. Rebel allies will always score critical hits against enemies inflicted with shield disruption if possible. Whenever a rebel ally scores a critical hit, there is a 20% chance to call another random rebel ally to assist, including the capital ship. Whenever a rebel ally assists, download is increased by 1%. That's pretty good. An extra 20% chance to call a random ally to assist when they crit. Now, obviously, there's high crit chance on things like Millennium Falcon. There is the increased assist chance with the Millennium Falcon anyway. I believe it's a 50% chance. So that's going to go up to 70% chance. That should deal with a little bit of the RNG element around Rebel fleets, and that's going to boost your chances to hit your ultimate very quickly. Whenever a Rebel ally evades an attack or resists a debuff, they recover 20% health and protection. Nice. Whenever an enemy unit is defeated, they recover 20% health and protection. Whenever an enemy is summoned, so like summoning would be vulture droids, apologies, in a malevolence mirror match, all rebel allies gain protection up 100% for 2 turns. Whenever an enemy reinforces, rebel allies gain 150% defense for 1 turn. Wow. That's pretty huge. They gain a lot of stats on this thing. If an enemy TIE Advanced is deployed at the start of battle, this is clearly directly aimed at countering Empire fleets. Now with the TIE Interceptor, Iron Interceptor, the second sister, I believe, her ship is a real nuisance. This looks directly targeted at them. Increase the cooldown of core reinforcements for the enemy ship capital by 1. Oh, that's funny. This is a literal direct nerf to the TIE Iron Interceptor. That ship is able to reinforcement as the first turn if it's in an enemy capital ship, in an Empire fleet. So this just negates that ability completely. If Profundity uses core reinforcement on consecutive turn, Phantom can let you do that. Dispel all buffs on all enemies and dispel all debuffs on all allies. That's awesome. So it's asking, basically, guys, what it's saying is your starting lineup is Outrider, Millennium Falcon, the BTLB Y-Wing. Your first reinforcement is going to be the Phantom 2. That's going to decrease your cooldowns by 1, so you'll be able to back-to-back reinforce. You'll bring out Ghost. Your whole fleet is going to be a cargo ship. You can't be crit. You've got all these additional stats. You've got rid of all your debuffs, and you've dispelled all buffs on the enemy team. Allies and enemies are immune to turn meter manipulation. We knew that already. Reinforcement bonus is crit chance up for 2 turns. Obviously, that's great because that is going to play into you gaining additional download. That is also going to play into you getting those extra assists. Okay, Ultimate Admiral, we have the plans. Requires a 100% download progress. So this is different to a normal capital ship, whereby it usually just has a cooldown, starts on cooldown. This one is you've got to hit 100% download, which I think everybody could see coming. Final text, limited to use once per battle. Remove the enemy capital ship. Check it out. Like, it looks like it sends out the Hammerhead. There goes the Hammerhead Corvette. And it's just like, hey, come follow me. And the enemy ship is just like, see you later, pal. Interesting. They could have done that a little bit more interesting, but there we go. Dispel all buffs on all enemies. Lovely. All enemies are inflicted with speed down for 2 turns and stranded for the rest of the encounter, which can't be copied or dispelled. That's a new debuff. The Profundity gains Plans Acquired special ability. Rebel allies gain crit damage immunity for 1 turn and recover all their health and protection. This ability can't be evaded, resisted, and requires 100% download progress to activate. Stranded, the new debuff, take damage equals to 35% of max health at the start of its turn. This damage can't defeat a ship. They can't recover health or protection or gain protection up. Pretty cool. So Plans Acquired is the new ability. All allies gain advantage, crit damage up, defense pen up, offense up for 2 turns. This ability starts on a cooldown of 4. So the fastest you could do it is in 4 turns. The main thing is you just have to get this off before the exec hits ult. And I think that's going to be entirely doable. Gain advantage, crit damage up, defense pen up, offense up for 2 turns, and it starts on cooldown. Okay, what are our thoughts, guys? What are our thoughts? Our thoughts are this capital ship definitely looks like it will deal very well with the Executor. I think it's going to deal very well with every single kit out there, I'll be honest. I think Malevolence is going to still struggle a little bit to deal with this. Even with those buzz droids, it's got a deliberate anti-reinforcement mechanic baked in. I think standard rebels are going to have a hard time. There's not going to be any additional turn meter generated from the Millennium Falcon, so Home 1 probably doesn't stand much of a chance. Negotiator might be able to do something. You won't be able to throw in TIE Fighter Pilot there to sort of gain the bonus TM to get the ball rolling on your Malevolence, for example, so that's not going to work. Executors, I do certainly see working because you can just ignore the taunt on the BTLB Y-Wing, take out, I imagine the most important capital ship to take out is probably going to be the Outrider, slow down that download progress as fast as possible, and go from there. So it does look like this ship is going to be basically the new meta. If we were to compare this to the Malevolence Negotiator lineup, I think we're looking at this is the Negotiator and the Executor is the Malevolence. Both very good capital ships, both very strong. Malevolence still super strong on offense, but I think the Profundity is going to edge it out on defense as a more valuable capital ship. How is this going to impact the meta as far as GAC and TW is concerned? Guarantee you, 9 times out of 10, you see people with the Profundity in their account, it's going to be on defense. Not because I think it belongs on defense, simply because new metas come in, most people will throw it on defense and let the opponent struggle, scratch their head and think, gee, how am I going to deal with this one? And go from there. Now, once things start to settle, I don't know where it's going to belong. There's going to be a certain number of people that are going to just put Negotiator, Exec, Profundity on defense and say, hey, come at me, bro. I can't say I blame them, because who likes ships? But ultimately, I think I think people are going to start taking their execs. If they've got Relic 9 execs, they're probably going to take that on offense and use that to counter Profundity. Maybe leave their own Profundity on defense and then go with Negotiator Malevolence. Maybe they'll keep Negotiator on defense. I'm not sure. Either way, the ship is incredibly important. You better farm it, guys. I'm sorry, it's just the way it is. I know nobody wants to Relic 9 their Piet, but hey-ho. Piet? Well, yes, you will have to do that as well if you want to counter Profundities on defense, but you're going to need the Profundity if you want to be able to compete in Squad Arena going forward. So get on that grind, guys, if you haven't already. And until the next video. Peace out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Love you guys. Bye.
Just giving a quick shout out to my patrons. I appreciate each and every single one of you, and without your support, I wouldn't be doing this today. Thanks so much.